In the crisp October air of 22, I stood in the driveway of my modest ranch-style home in Appleton, Wisconsin, staring at the two small figures on my doorstep. My nephews, Ethan and Caleb, clutched tattered backpacks, their faces a mix of confusion and exhaustion. Behind them, a taxi peeled away, leaving a cloud of dust on the quiet street. My phone buzzed with a voicemail from my sister, Vanessa, her voice dripping with entitlement. "I'm off to Miami for 6 weeks with a big-shot entrepreneur. You're watching the boys. Don't screw this up." Claire. No warning. No discussion, just a demand. As if my life was hers to command. Vanessa, the golden child of our family, had always gotten her way. With her cascading blonde curls and emerald eyes, she was our mother's pride, excused for every cruel act. From stealing my high school crush to mocking my plain brown hair and hazel eyes, Mom's constant comparisons urging me to dress like Vanessa, to try harder to be pretty, had carved deep wounds. Now, at 28, I was a senior financial analyst at a Milwaukee firm, pulling 6 figures, yet still the invisible daughter in Mom's eyes. Vanessa's latest stunt, dumping her kids to chase a get-rich-quick scheme, was peak selfishness. But not surprising. I ushered Ethan and Caleb inside, their sneakers scuffing the hardwood. "Why didn't Mom bring us?" Ethan asked, his voice small. I knelt, forcing a smile. "She's got a trip. But you're staying with me? We'll have fun." Caleb clutched a worn teddy bear, his eyes wary. I didn't know them well. Vanessa kept them at arm's length, only parading them at family holidays where she'd insult my thrift store blazer or boring job. But seeing their uncertainty, I felt a pang of protectiveness. They weren't just Vanessa's kids, they were family, and I wouldn't let her chaos swallow them. My phone pinged again, a text from my best friend, Rachel. "Heard Vanessa's in Miami. You okay?" I typed back. "She left the boys with me. No heads up." Rachel's reply was instant. Classic Vanessa. "Call if you need me." I sighed, glancing at the boys, who were now poking at my couch cushions. My life was structured: early mornings at the firm, late nights crunching numbers, a long-distance boyfriend, Mark. In London, I'd planned to visit next month. Vanessa's stunt threw everything into disarray. But I couldn't abandon Ethan and Caleb. Growing up, Mom had doted on Vanessa, calling her the firstborn miracle. While I was the afterthought, she'd paid for Vanessa's college, despite her flunking out, but told me to figure it out for my own education. I'd clawed my way through with scholarships, graduating summa cum laude. Yet Mom barely acknowledged it. Vanessa's beauty was her currency, and she wielded it like a weapon, bullying me while Mom looked the other way. Once, in high school, Vanessa spread a rumor I'd cheated on a test, costing me a scholarship. Mom's response: "Don't provoke her, Claire." Now, as I dialed Vanessa's number, fury simmered. She didn't answer, so I left a voicemail. "You can't just dump your kids and run. Pick them up, or I'm calling CPS." The threat felt hollow. I wasn't sure I could follow through, but I needed her to know I wasn't her doormat. Ethan overheard, his eyes widening. "Are we in trouble?" I shook my head, ruffling his hair. "No, buddy, you're safe here." I ordered pizza, trying to make the evening normal. But my mind raced. Vanessa's entrepreneur was likely another scam she'd fallen for pyramid schemes before. Always bailed out by Mom. I checked my work emails. A major client meeting loomed, one that could secure my promotion to VP. Babysitting for 6 weeks wasn't just inconvenient. It risked everything I'd built. Yet, as Caleb giggled at a cartoon, I felt a resolve harden. I'd protect these boys, even if it meant confronting Vanessa's wrath. The next morning, I called Mom, hoping she'd intervene. Her voice was cold. Vanessa's chasing an opportunity. You owe her this. Claire, be a good sister. I snapped. She abandoned her kids. How is that my job? Mom sighed. As if I were the problem. She's always done so much for you. The lie stung, and I hung up, trembling. Mom's favoritism had enabled Vanessa's entitlement, and now I was cleaning up her mess. As I drove Ethan and Caleb to school, I noticed their worn clothes hand-me-downs, too small for growing boys. Vanessa's neglect was glaring, and it fueled my anger. Back home, I found a letter in my mailbox, postmarked from a law firm. It was about a family trust fund, one I'd never heard of, naming me as a beneficiary alongside Vanessa. The amount was staggering $2 million, tied to our late grandmother's estate. Why had Mom never mentioned this? I tucked the letter away, my gut twisting. Something was off, and I suspected Vanessa's trip was no coincidence. That night, I tucked the boys into the guest room, their small forms barely denting the quilts. Ethan whispered, "Will Mom come back soon?" I hesitated, then said, "She will. But you're with me now. I've got you." As they slept, I opened my laptop, researching CPS protocols. Vanessa's stunt wasn't just selfish, it was reckless, and I wouldn't let her endanger her kids. The trust fund nagged at me, a puzzle piece that didn't fit. Had Vanessa known about it? Was her trip a ploy to secure it? I didn't know, but I'd find out. For now, I had 2 boys to care for and a career to protect, and I'd be damned if Vanessa's entitlement ruined us all. The morning light filtered through my kitchen blinds, casting stripes across the table where Ethan and Caleb munched on cereal. Their quiet chatter about school Ethan's science project. Caleb's new friend felt like a fragile normalcy I was desperate to maintain. But Vanessa's voicemail from last night echoed in my mind, her tone venomous. Call CPS. And I'll tell your firm you've been hiding a gambling addiction. You'll lose everything. Claire. The threat was absurd. I'd never gambled, but Vanessa knew my career was my lifeline, and she'd weaponize any lie to control me. Growing up in Appleton, I'd endured her cruelty, enabled by Mom's blind devotion. Vanessa wasn't just beautiful, she was cunning, turning charm into a tool for manipulation. In high school, she'd seduced my first boyfriend, Tom, not because she wanted him, but to prove she could. When I confronted her, tears streaming, she laughed, saying, "He was too good for you anyway." Mom's response was a shrug. Boys will be boys. Claire, move on. Dad, always passive, stayed silent, his absence as wounding as Mom's words. Those betrayals shaped me, making me wary, reserved, someone who trusted numbers more than people. Now, as I packed lunches for the boys, I felt that old helplessness creeping in. Vanessa's threat wasn't just about me, it was about Ethan and Caleb. Who deserved better than her neglect? Their backpacks, stuffed with frayed notebooks and broken crayons, spoke of a life where they were afterthoughts. Just as I'd been, I drove them to school, their small hands waving as they disappeared into the building. Back home, I called Rachel, needing her steady voice. "She's blackmailing me," I said, explaining the gambling lie. Rachel's outrage was instant. "She's unhinged." "Claire, record her next call. You need proof." Rachel's advice grounded me, but the trust fund letter weighed heavier. I called the law firm, and a curt attorney confirmed it. Grandma had left $2 million, split between Vanessa and me. But Mom, as executor, had delayed distribution. Why? I suspected Vanessa's sudden business trip was tied to it. Perhaps she'd learned of the fund and wanted to manipulate its release. I dug through old family emails, finding a cryptic note from Mom to Vanessa. Don't worry about the estate. I'll handle Claire. The words chilled me. Was Mom helping Vanessa cut me out? At work, I buried myself in spreadsheets, analyzing market trends for our client meeting. My boss, Linda, praised my precision, hinting at the VP role, but Vanessa's threat loomed, a shadow over my focus. I couldn't risk her calling the firm with lies, not when I'd fought so hard to rise above my family's disdain. Growing up, Mom had dismissed my academic drive, saying, "Vanessa's the star. Claire, you're just reliable." Yet, that reliability earned me a full ride to UW-Madison, while Vanessa partied through her prepaid college. Flunking out, my scholarship announcement had been met with Mom's silence, a week-long cold shoulder that crushed my teenage hope for her pride. I picked up the boys from school, their chatter a welcome distraction. Ethan showed me a drawing, a rocket ship, meticulously detailed. "You're good at this," I said, and his shy smile broke my heart. Vanessa never saw their potential, too busy chasing her next scheme. At home, I cooked spaghetti, letting Caleb stir the sauce. Their laughter filled the kitchen, a sound I hadn't realized I craved. But as they ate, I noticed Ethan's sneaker soles peeling, laces frayed. I made a mental note to buy new clothes and shoes, a small rebellion against Vanessa's neglect. That night, I called Mark in London, his voice a lifeline across the ocean. "She's holding my career hostage," I said, tears welling. Mark, ever calm, suggested, "Get her to repeat the threat on record. And check the trust fund, sounds like she's after it." His support steadied me, reminding me I wasn't alone. I'd met Mark at a finance conference, his quiet confidence a contrast to my family's chaos. Our long-distance relationship was my anchor, and I couldn't let Vanessa derail my trip to meet his parents. Before bed, I checked on the boys, Ethan clutching a worn comic book, Caleb curled around his teddy. Their vulnerability fueled my resolve. I opened my laptop, drafting an email to the law firm, demanding clarity on the trust fund. If Vanessa was scheming, I'd beat her at her own game. But another email caught my eye from Rachel, forwarded from a mutual friend. "Vanessa's bragging about a deal in Miami. Says she's set for life." My stomach sank. Was this about the trust fund? Or something worse? I didn't know. But I'd protect Ethan and Caleb, even if it meant facing Vanessa's wrath and uncovering whatever Mom was hiding. The Wisconsin autumn turned colder, leaves piling in my yard as I juggled work, the boys, and Vanessa's looming threat. Ethan and Caleb were settling in, their morning routines cereal, backpacks, quick hugs becoming a rhythm I cherished. But Vanessa's silence was unnerving. After her blackmail voicemail, she'd gone quiet. Ignoring my calls, I followed Rachel's advice, setting up an app to record our next conversation. But without her picking up, I was stuck. Meanwhile, the trust fund letter gnawed at me, a mystery tied to Vanessa's sudden Miami trip. At the firm, I was neck-deep in preparing for the client meeting, my analysis predicting a 15% market upswing. Linda pulled me aside, her eyes sharp. "You're on track for VP. Claire, but you seem distracted. Everything okay?" I forced a smile, hiding the chaos. "Just family stuff. I'm fine." But I wasn't. Vanessa's gambling lie could ruin my reputation, and the trust fund raised questions I couldn't ignore. I called the law firm again, reaching a senior partner, Mr. Ellison. "Your mother's been stalling the distribution," he said. "She claims it's to protect you and Vanessa. But there's a clause. The fund can't be split if one beneficiary contests it." My heart sank. Was Vanessa contesting my share? I dug deeper, accessing public records on Grandma's estate, A document revealed Mom had power of attorney over the fund since Grandma's death 5 years ago, yet never disclosed it. I found an old bank statement, buried in Mom's email, showing $50,000 transferred to Vanessa last year, labeled Estate Advance. Mom was funneling money to Vanessa behind my back. Furious, I confronted her over the phone. "Why didn't you tell me about the trust?" I demanded. Her voice was icy. "You don't need it. Claire, Vanessa's got bigger dreams." Dreams. Vanessa's dreams were scams and failed ventures. While I'd built a career from nothing, the boys kept me grounded. I took them shopping, replacing their worn clothes with new jackets, sneakers, and jeans. Ethan's eyes lit up at a science kit. Caleb at a plush dinosaur. "You didn't have to," Ethan said, hugging me. I smiled, but their gratitude highlighted Vanessa's neglect. At home, I helped Ethan with his science project, a model volcano, while Caleb drew dinosaurs. Their creativity was a stark contrast to Vanessa's chaos, and I vowed to shield them from her recklessness. Rachel came over, bringing wine and her trademark bluntness. Vanessa's posting from Miami yachts. Champagne. Looks like she's fleecing some rich guy. I showed her the trust fund documents, and her jaw dropped. "Your mom's in on this. Claire, they're screwing you over." She urged me to hire a lawyer, but I hesitated. Legal battles were costly, and I needed to focus on the boys. Rachel's support was a lifeline, but a text from her later chilled me. "Watch out. Vanessa's been asking about your work. She's digging." At work, I aced the client meeting, securing a $10 million investment. Linda beamed, whispering, "VP's yours if you keep this up." But Vanessa's threat loomed, and I couldn't shake the trust fund puzzle. I emailed Mr. Ellison, requesting a full audit of the estate. His reply was prompt. "There's evidence of mismanagement. Meet me next week." Mismanagement. Mom's betrayal cut deeper than I'd imagined. Had she and Vanessa been siphoning the fund for years? That night, I called Mark, his voice soothing despite the time difference. "You're stronger than they know," he said. "Get the recording, secure the fund, and protect those boys." I nodded. Though he couldn't see, Mark's belief in me was a stark contrast to my family's dismissal. Growing up, Mom had mocked my ambition, saying, "Finance is for men. Claire, stick to something safe." Yet I'd thrived, outpacing Vanessa's failures. Her college flop, funded by Mom, had been a slap in the face when I'd scraped by on scholarships. Now, she was using her kids as pawns, and I wouldn't let her win. I tucked the boys in, Ethan's comic book dog-eared, Caleb's dinosaur tucked under his arm. "You're the best aunt," Caleb mumbled. Half asleep, my throat tightened. They deserved a stable home, not Vanessa's neglect. As I closed their door, my phone buzzed a call from an unknown number. It was Vanessa. Her voice slurred. "You're ruining everything. Claire, drop the CPS crap, or I'll call your boss tomorrow." I hit record, heart pounding. "Say that again," I said, voice steady. She obliged, ranting about my fake career and her right to the trust fund. I hung up. The recording saved. It was my weapon, but I needed more proof of the estate fraud and a plan to keep Ethan and Caleb safe. The days blurred as I balanced work, the boys, and the growing storm of Vanessa's actions. Ethan and Caleb's presence in my home was a grounding force. Their laughter over breakfast pancakes, a reminder of what was at stake. But Vanessa's recorded threat played on a loop in my mind. Her slurred promise to ruin my career a ticking bomb. I'd sent the recording to Rachel, who'd forwarded it to a lawyer friend, Sarah, who specialized in family disputes. Sarah's advice was blunt. File a restraining order and report her to CPS. She's neglecting her kids and blackmailing you. You've got evidence. I hesitated, the weight of betraying family heavy. But Ethan's shy smile as he showed me his volcano project pushed me forward. At the firm, I was a machine, finalizing reports and mentoring a junior analyst, all while hiding my turmoil. Linda noticed my intensity, pulling me aside. You're killing it, Claire. But you look exhausted. Need a day off? I shook my head. The VP promotion too close to risk. But Vanessa's threat loomed, and I checked my work email obsessively, fearing her call to HR. I'd built my career on precision, turning Mom's dismissal. You're not cut out for finance into fuel. Vanessa's failures, from flunking college to chasing scams, only highlighted my resolve. Yet Mom's favoritism still stung. Her silence at my college graduation, a wound that never healed. I met Sarah at a coffee shop, handing over the trust fund documents and Vanessa's recording. Her eyes widened. Your mom's been funneling money to Vanessa for years. This is fraud. File a civil suit, and we'll freeze the fund. I nodded. But the idea of suing Mom felt like severing the last thread of family. Sarah sensed my hesitation. You're not the villain here, Claire. They're stealing your inheritance. She also urged me to contact CPS about the boys, citing Vanessa's abandonment. I agreed, but my heart ached for Ethan and Caleb, who'd started calling me Aunt Claire with unguarded trust. Back home, I took the boys to a local fair, their eyes wide at the Ferris wheel and cotton candy. Ethan won a stuffed rocket at a game, Caleb giggling as he smeared blue sugar on his face. Their joy was a balm. But I noticed their hesitation when I mentioned Vanessa. Does Mom love us? Caleb asked, his voice small. I hugged him, dodging the question. You're loved here. Buddy. Their vulnerability fueled my resolve to protect them. But a call from Mom interrupted the moment. You're selfish, Claire. She snapped. Vanessa's building a future. Stop meddling. I exploded. She left her kids. And what's with the trust fund? Why'd you hide it? Mom hung up, her silence a confirmation of guilt. Rachel's warning about Vanessa digging into my life proved true. A coworker mentioned an odd call to HR. Someone claiming I'd faked my credentials. I traced it to Vanessa's number. My blood boiling. She wasn't just threatening, she was acting. I called CPS, reporting her abandonment and blackmail, sharing the recording. The agent was sympathetic, promising an investigation, but the trust fund puzzle deepened. Mr. Ellison sent bank records showing $200,000 diverted to an offshore account in Vanessa's name. Mom's signature was on every transfer. The betrayal was staggering my own mother, robbing me to prop up Vanessa's delusions. I confided in Mark, his voice a steady anchor. You're not alone, Claire. Fight for the boys and your future. His support reminded me of what I'd built, a life beyond Mom's shadow. In high school, Vanessa's rumor about my cheating had cost me a mentor's trust, but I'd fought back, earning valedictorian. Now, I'd fight for Ethan and Caleb's, and the inheritance Grandma meant for us both. I hired Sarah to file the civil suit, freezing the trust fund. The move felt like a declaration of war, but I was done being the scapegoat. That night, I found Ethan reading under the covers, his flashlight casting shadows. You're like a superhero, Aunt Claire, he said, eyes bright. I laughed, but his words strengthened me. I checked on Caleb, his dinosaur plush tucked close, and felt a fierce protectiveness. Vanessa's chaos wouldn't touch them. But a late-night text from Rachel shook me. Vanessa's back in Appleton. Be careful. My heart raced. Was she coming for the boys? Or the trust fund? I double-checked the locks. The recording safe on my laptop. Vanessa's return meant confrontation. And I'd be ready with evidence, a lawyer, and a determination to end her reign of entitlement. Vanessa's threat to reclaim Ethan and Caleb sent a chill through my Appleton home, but I was ready. The restraining order was in place. CPS was investigating, and Sarah's injunction had frozen the trust fund. Halting Mom and Vanessa's scheme, Ethan's science fair win had lifted my spirits. And Caleb's art. Bright dinosaurs scrawled in crayon decorated my fridge. Their trust in me was a shield against the chaos. But Rachel's betrayal lingered. A wound I couldn't ignore. I'd cut contact. Her apologies unanswered. Mom's silence was deafening. Her loyalty to Vanessa unwavering. At the firm, I was a fortress, delivering a flawless presentation that secured a $15 million client portfolio. Linda pulled me aside, her smile wide. "VP's yours. Claire. Announcement next month." The victory was bittersweet. Vanessa's threat to smear me loomed, and I'd warned HR about family issues to preempt her lies. My career was my defiance against Mom's dismissal. She'd scoffed at my finance degree, saying, "Vanessa's the dreamer. Claire, you're just practical." Yet, my practicality had outshone Vanessa's failures, her college flop, her string of scams, all propped up by Mom's cash. Sarah called with news. "CPS is escalating. Vanessa's abandonment and threats are grounds for temporary custody. Prepare for a home visit." I cleaned obsessively, stocking the boys' room with books, clothes, and games. Ethan helped, arranging his comic books neatly. "Will we stay with you forever?" he asked, eyes hopeful. I hugged him, dodging the question. "You're safe here, buddy." Caleb joined us, his dinosaur plush a constant companion. Their resilience amazed me, but their fear of Vanessa's return was palpable. Mr. Ellison's meeting revealed more. Grandma's will required a financial audit for trust fund distribution. Mom had falsified records, claiming Vanessa's business ventures were legitimate. "Your mother could face charges," Ellison said. The weight of suing Mom hit hard, but Grandma's codicil was clear. I was the responsible heir. I authorized the audit, knowing it would expose Mom's fraud. Vanessa's offshore account, now at $350,000, was evidence of their collusion. Sarah filed a fraud claim, and I braced for the fallout. I took the boys ice skating, their wobbly glides sparking laughter. Ethan fell, giggling, while Caleb clung to my hand. Their joy was a stark contrast to Vanessa's neglect, and I vowed to give them stability. But a call from CPS interrupted. Vanessa had contacted them, claiming I'd kidnapped her kids. The lie was laughable, but the agent scheduled an urgent meeting. I shared the restraining order and recordings, and the agent nodded. "She's digging her own grave." "Miss Peterson." At home, I found a letter slipped under my door, handwritten by Mom. "Stop this. Claire, you're tearing us apart. Vanessa needs the money." The hypocrisy enraged me. Mom had enabled Vanessa's entitlement, from excusing her high school bullying to funding her scams. I burned the letter, its ashes a symbol of my resolve. Mark's call that night was a lifeline. "You're not tearing them apart. They did that," he said. "Get custody, claim the fund, and build a life for those boys." His faith in me echoed Grandma's, a reminder of who I'd become despite Mom's disdain. The CPS visit went smoothly. The agent impressed by the boys' room and their chatter about school. "You're doing right by them," she said, but warned Vanessa was pushing for a hearing. I nodded, steeling myself. That night, I checked my security cameras, paranoia from Vanessa's return spiking. A shadow moved in the yard, a figure, too tall to be Vanessa. My heart raced. Was it her entrepreneur? I called the police, who found nothing but footprints in the snow. The threat was real, and I upgraded my locks, sleeping with my phone close. Ethan's nightmares started, his cries waking me. "Mom's mad," he mumbled, clinging to me. I soothed him, but his fear mirrored mine. Caleb drew a picture of us three, a family, and I taped it to my desk, a reminder of my fight. Sarah sent court documents. The fraud case was moving forward, and CPS recommended temporary custody. But Vanessa's next move was imminent, and Rachel's silence once my anchor left me isolated. I was ready, with evidence, a lawyer, and a heart set on protecting Ethan and Caleb from the storm Vanessa was brewing. Artifact. Game. Psi artifact ID 2A8C 8E DBF0455B 8E EF 799 D508F3E6 Artifact version EF F3C59BB2 4C11 44 E895 AC F667178B5979. Title: The Cost of Favor, Part 6. The Confrontation Content. Type A text plain. The Appleton winter tightened its grip, snow blanketing my yard as Vanessa's shadow loomed larger. Ethan and Caleb's routine school, science club, art lessons were my anchor, their trust a quiet strength. But the footprints in my yard, the CPS hearing looming, and Mom's fraud exposed by the trust fund audit kept me on edge. Sarah's latest update was a lifeline. The court's reviewing Vanessa's abandonment. Temporary custody's likely yours. But she's fighting dirty. Vanessa's claim I'd kidnapped her kids was unraveling, thanks to my recordings. But her unpredictability was a wild card. At the firm, I was a machine, closing a $20 million deal that cemented my VP candidacy. Linda's praise, "You're unstoppable." Claire was overshadowed by a call from HR. Someone, using Vanessa's number, had emailed a fabricated whistleblower report, alleging I'd embezzled client funds. The accusation was baseless. My accounts were pristine, but the audacity enraged me. I shared my evidence with HR, including Vanessa's blackmail recordings, and they dismissed the claim. But the damage was done. My colleagues whispered, and Linda's glance held a flicker of doubt. Vanessa's high school rumor-mongering had cost me friends. Now, she targeted my livelihood. I confronted Mom at her house, a rare visit driven by fury. Her living room, cluttered with Vanessa's old trophies, reeked of favoritism. "Why are you helping her steal my inheritance?" I demanded, tossing the audit records on her coffee table. Mom's eyes narrowed. "Vanessa's building something big in Miami. You're fine. Claire, you always are." Her dismissal was a knife, echoing her silence when Vanessa sabotaged my college applications. "You're breaking the law," I said, voice steady. "Testify, or face charges." She laughed, cold and sharp. "You're no daughter of mine." I left, her words a wound. But my resolve hardened. Sarah filed for an emergency CPS hearing. Citing Vanessa's threats and neglect, I prepared Ethan and Caleb, explaining, "Some grown-ups need to decide where you'll live. I want you with me." Ethan nodded. But Caleb's question, "Will Mom be mad?" broke my heart. I hugged them, promising safety. The hearing was set for Friday, the same day as my meeting with Mr. Ellison about Grandma's codicil. The trust fund audit revealed $500,000 diverted to Vanessa's offshore account, with Mom's forged signatures. Sarah pushed for criminal charges, but I hesitated. Jailing Mom felt like losing the last shred of family. I took the boys to a planetarium, Ethan's eyes wide at the star show. Caleb clutching his dinosaur plush. Their awe was a reminder of what I fought for: a stable, loving home. But a call from Rachel shattered the moment. I messed up. Claire, she sobbed. Vanessa paid me $5,000 to hack your email. I didn't. But I took the money. Her betrayal was a gut punch. Rachel, who'd seen me cry over Vanessa's high school pranks, had chosen cash over loyalty. We're done, I said, hanging up. Trust, already scarce, was now a luxury I couldn't afford. The CPS hearing was a battlefield. Vanessa appeared, her Miami tan jarring against her furious glare. She spun a tale of temporary travel, claiming I'd exaggerated her absence. My recordings her blackmail. Her threats silenced her lawyer's objections. Ethan and Caleb, interviewed privately, spoke of Vanessa's neglect, their voices small but clear. The judge granted me temporary custody, citing clear evidence of abandonment. Vanessa's scream, "You'll pay, Claire," echoed as bailiffs escorted her out. I exhaled, the boy's hands in mine, but her threat lingered. Mark's call that night was a beacon. "You won a battle, not the war," he said. "She'll escalate." He was right. Vanessa's Miami entrepreneur was a known con artist, linked to her offshore account. Was she planning to flee with the trust fund? I upgraded my security system. The boy's safety paramount. Ethan's nightmares worsened, his cries of "Mom's coming" waking me. I soothed him. But fear gnawed at me. Caleb drew a picture of us in a castle, safe from danger, and I taped it to my mirror, a talisman against Vanessa's wrath. The trust fund meeting with Mr. Ellison confirmed Mom's fraud, $600,000 gone. With Vanessa's signatures on fake investment contracts, I authorized a criminal complaint, tears falling as I signed. Grandma's faith in me was my guide, but Mom's betrayal was a scar. Vanessa's next move was coming, and Rachel's betrayal had left me isolated. I tucked the boys in, their soft snores a promise I'd keep. The fight wasn't over, but I was ready with evidence, a lawyer, and a heart set on justice for Ethan and Caleb. Snow piled high in Appleton, mirroring the weight of Vanessa's escalating threats. Temporary custody of Ethan and Caleb was a victory, but the CPS hearing had unleashed her fury. Her scream in court, "You'll pay, Claire," was a promise, and I felt it in the air. The trust fund case was moving forward, with Mom facing potential charges for diverting $600,000 to Vanessa's offshore account. Sarah warned, "Vanessa's desperate. She's got nothing to lose." I upgraded my security cameras, sleeping lightly. The boys' safety, my obsession. At the firm, I was a ghost, powering through reports while dodging whispers about the whistleblower email. Linda's support held, but the VP announcement was delayed, her caution a silent warning. My career was my defiance against Mom's disdain. She'd called my finance dreams dull, praising Vanessa's spark. Yet Vanessa's spark had burned out. Her college failure and scams, a stark contrast to my rise. Now, she targeted my livelihood. Her high school cruelty, spreading lies about my grades, echoing in her adult schemes. Ethan and Caleb were my light. Ethan's science club built a robot, his pride infectious, while Caleb's art teacher praised his creativity. I enrolled them in counseling. Their fears of Vanessa surfacing in sessions. "Mom yells a lot," Ethan confided, and Caleb nodded, clutching his dinosaur. Their vulnerability fueled my resolve, but their questions, "Will we see Mom again?" tore at me. I promised stability, cooking their favorite tacos, their laughter a fleeting escape from the storm. Sarah's update was grim. Vanessa had hired a shady lawyer, contesting custody and claiming the trust fund was her due. The fraud case exposed Mom's forged signatures, and Sarah pushed for her deposition. I agreed, but the idea of Mom in court, defending Vanessa, was a fresh wound. Mr. Ellison sent Grandma's diary. Found in her estate files, her words, "Claire's the steady one. My true heir were a balm." But her warning about Mom's blindness to Vanessa's flaws was prophetic. I clutched the diary. Grandma's faith. My guide. A late-night call from the police jolted me. Vanessa had been spotted near my house, with a man described as intimidating. My cameras caught nothing. But fear gripped me. I moved the boys' beds to my room, their small forms a reminder of my duty. Mark's voice, strained across the ocean, urged, "Get a bodyguard. Claire, she's unhinged." I hired a security firm, their patrols a reassurance. But the cost drained my savings. Vanessa's chaos was bleeding me dry, just as Mom's favoritism had drained my spirit. The reckoning came at dawn. My doorbell rang, a pounding that woke the boys. Through the peephole, I saw Vanessa, her eyes wild, beside a hulking man in a leather jacket. Mom stood behind, her face grim. I called 911, whispering to Ethan and Caleb, "Stay upstairs." Vanessa's voice pierced the door. "Give me my kids." "Claire." The man kicked the door, wood splintering. I grabbed a kitchen knife, heart pounding. As sirens wailed, the man shoved through, grabbing my arm, his grip bruising. "Where are they?" he roared, his accent thick. Vanessa smirked, but Mom's eyes flickered with fear. Ethan's cry from upstairs drew the man's attention, and I lunged, shoving him back. "Don't touch them," I screamed. Vanessa laughed, but the police stormed in, cuffing the man as he swung at an officer. Vanessa clawed at me, her nails drawing blood, but an officer pulled her off. Mom sobbed, "This is your fault, Claire." As she was led away, the boys ran to me, trembling, and I held them, ignoring the chaos. Vanessa's man, identified as a hired thug, was arrested, and Vanessa faced assault charges. Mom's complicity driving them here was noted. The aftermath was a blur. CPS arrived, documenting the boys' fear, strengthening my custody case. Sarah filed additional charges breaking and entering. Assault and the trust fund case gained traction. Mom's deposition imminent. Ethan and Caleb clung to me, their nightmares now vivid with Vanessa's face. I soothed them, but my own fear lingered. Vanessa's desperation had turned violent, and Mom's betrayal was complete. Mark's call was a lifeline. "You're their hero, Claire. Keep fighting." I nodded. The boys' drawings, us as a family. My anchor. Vanessa's storm had broken, but the war wasn't over. X artifact. Sum up. Xi artifact, artifact, ID 2122C8693A08482-9D7F, C0E2G2809B4B, artifact/version. D89053331, AE4B42AE9372, 5E115867B43 title. The Cost of Favor, Part 8. The Legal Battle Content Type E Text Plain. The Appleton Police Station was a cold refuge after Vanessa's attack. The boys' hands in mine as we gave statements. Ethan's voice shook, describing the big man, while Caleb clutched his dinosaur, silent. The officers were kind, but their questions about Vanessa. "Mom!" The trust fund dragged us through the trauma. Vanessa and her thug faced multiple charges: assault, breaking and entering, and child endangerment. Mom, complicit but not violent, was released with a warning, her tearful plea. I was protecting Vanessa, a hollow excuse. CPS strengthened my temporary custody, citing the boys' fear. But the legal battles loomed. At the firm, I took a week's leave. Linda's concern palpable. You're still VP material. Claire. But stay safe, she said. The whistleblower email had faded, but Vanessa's attack revived whispers. My career, built against mom's scorn. Finance isn't for girls like you was at risk. Yet I focused on Ethan and Caleb. Their counseling sessions revealed Vanessa's neglect, missed meals, angry outbursts mirroring my own childhood under mom's favoritism. Vanessa's high school betrayal, spreading lies about my cheating, had cost me trust. Now, she endangered her sons. Sarah was relentless, filing a permanent custody petition and pushing the trust fund fraud case. Mom's deposition was scheduled, her forged signatures damning. Mr. Ellison sent Grandma's full will, revealing a letter. Claire, you're my legacy. Protect the fund from those who'd squander it. Grandma had seen Mom's blindness, Vanessa's greed, and trusted me to prevail. The trust fund, now $1.4 million after Vanessa's theft, was my leverage. Sarah filed for its full recovery, naming me sole beneficiary under Grandma's codicil. I returned to work, closing a $25 million deal. My focus razor sharp. Linda announced the VP role, effective next quarter, and colleagues applauded, but the victory felt hollow. Ethan's nightmares persisted. Caleb's drawings, now dark monsters chasing us. I enrolled them in a winter camp, their smiles returning as they built snowmen. But a call from Sarah chilled me. Vanessa's lawyer was pushing for a custody hearing, claiming her rehabilitation. Rehabilitation? She'd attacked me days ago. I shared the police report, and Sarah nodded. She's delusional. But we're ready. Mom's deposition was a gut punch. In court, she sobbed, claiming Vanessa needed the trust fund for her business. Under oath, she admitted forging signatures, blaming me for provoking Vanessa. Her betrayal was raw, echoing her silence when Vanessa ruined my college chances. I testified, detailing Mom's favoritism, Vanessa's neglect, and the boys' fear. The judge's stern gaze fixed on Mom, ordering her to repay $600,000 or face jail. Mom's crocodile tears didn't sway me. I'd seen them before. When she excused Vanessa's bullying, Mark flew to Appleton, his presence a rare comfort. We took the boys sledding, their laughter echoing in the snow. You're their mom now, Mark said, kissing my forehead. His words stirred a dream of family, free of Vanessa's chaos. But a late-night call from CPS warned of Vanessa's latest ploy. She'd contacted Ethan and Caleb's father, a deadbeat who'd vanished years ago. To contest custody, Sarah traced him to a Milwaukee bar, his sudden interest tied to Vanessa's promise of trust fund cash. I raged Vanessa was using her kids as pawns again. I met the father, Greg, at a diner, his greasy hair and smug grin repulsive. Vanessa says there's money in this. He leered. I offered a deal. Walk away or face CPS scrutiny for his criminal record. He laughed. But my evidence, his DUIs. His absence silenced him. He signed a waiver, abandoning his claim. Sarah filed it, strengthening my case. The boys, unaware, drew me pictures of our house, their trust unwavering. I taped them to my office wall, a reminder of my fight. Vanessa's custody hearing loomed, her lawyer spinning lies about her stability. I prepared, gathering school reports, counselor notes, and police records. Ethan and Caleb's voices, recorded in therapy, detailed Vanessa's neglect, their fear of her return. I was ready, but fear gnawed at me. Vanessa's desperation was a wildfire, and Mom's complicity a lingering betrayal. Mark held me, whispering, "You're enough for them." I nodded. The boys' laughter, my fuel. The legal battle was brutal, but I'd fight for Ethan and Caleb, and the legacy Grandma entrusted to me. Sartifact. Damen. Xi artifact lush IIE 31B61D4565F3444 E 9665 4C1B9BFD6873. Artifact lash version DA ID CEE 96981. 0DCE 46F483 02537D2068396 title. The Cost of Favor, Part 9. The Courtroom Clash. Content. Type A text plain. The Appleton courthouse was a stark contrast to the snowy warmth of my home, where Ethan and Caleb's snowmen stood guard. The custody hearing was a battlefield. Vanessa's last stand to reclaim her sons and the trust fund. Temporary custody had given me strength, but her attack bruises still fading on my arm reminded me of her desperation. Sarah was a warrior, her briefcase stuffed with evidence, police reports, CPS findings, Vanessa's recordings, and the trust fund audit. Mom's deposition, admitting fraud, was our trump card, but Vanessa's unpredictability was a wild card. At the firm, I'd taken the VP role, my office now a corner suite with a view of Milwaukee's skyline. Linda's trust held, despite Vanessa's smears, and my latest deal, a $30 million portfolio, solidified my reputation. Mom's scorn. "You're no leader." Claire had fueled my rise, outpacing Vanessa's failures, her college flop, her scams. Her neglect of Ethan and Caleb were a stark contrast to my stability. Now, she fought to undo it all, her lawyer spinning a tale of reformed motherhood. The courtroom was tense. Vanessa in a tailored suit, her Miami tan faded, but her glare venomous. Her lawyer claimed she'd completed therapy, presenting a forged certificate. Sarah dismantled it, presenting Vanessa's arrest record assault, child endangerment, and the boys' therapy notes, detailing her neglect. Ethan's voice, recorded in counseling, echoed, "Mom left us. Aunt Claire loves us." Caleb's drawing of Vanessa as a monster was submitted, his fear palpable. The judge's frown deepened, and Vanessa's composure cracked. I testified, my voice steady, recounting Vanessa's abandonment, her threats, her attack. "Ethan and Caleb deserve stability," I said, eyes on the judge. "I've given them a home, school, love. Vanessa's left them in danger." Sarah played the blackmail recordings, Vanessa's voice snarling about my fake career. The courtroom gasped, and Vanessa's lawyer faltered. Mom, called as a witness, sobbed, blaming me for ruining Vanessa. Sarah's cross-examination was brutal, exposing Mom's fraud, 600,000 stolen, her signatures forged. The judge ordered Mom to repay or face jail. Her tears irrelevant. Vanessa's outburst sealed her fate. As Sarah presented the trust fund audit, Vanessa leapt up, screaming, "It's mine." Claire's nothing. Bailiffs restrained her, her lawyer pleading for calm. The judge, unmoved, adjourned for deliberation. I left the courtroom, Ethan and Caleb waiting with their counselor. "Did we win?" Ethan asked, his robot model in hand. I hugged them, saying, "We're close." Their trust was my armor, but Vanessa's scream lingered, a warning of her unhinged rage. Mark met us at home, cooking spaghetti with the boys, their laughter a balm. "You were fierce," he said, pulling me close. His presence, after months apart, was a reminder of the life I wanted with him. The boys, a family free of Vanessa's shadow, but a call from Sarah tempered the joy. The judge is leaning our way. But Vanessa's filed a counterclaim, alleging you coerced Mom. The lie was desperate, but dangerous. I shared Mom's letter, her plea to stop, and Sarah nodded. It's evidence of her bias. We've got this. The trust fund case moved forward. Mom ordered to repay 600,000 or face jail. She called, begging forgiveness. But I hung up. Her betrayal too deep. Grandma's diary, now my bedside read, spoke of my strength. Claire's heart is her power. I clung to it, preparing for the judge's ruling. Ethan's robot won a school prize. Caleb's art displayed at a local gallery. Their growth was my victory. A contrast to Vanessa's chaos, I took them to the gallery, Caleb beaming as strangers admired his dinosaurs. You're a star, I said, and he hugged me. His dinosaur plush, a constant companion. A late-night email from Mr. Ellison revealed Vanessa's entrepreneur was under FBI scrutiny for fraud, linked to her offshore account. Was she planning to flee? I alerted Sarah, who coordinated with authorities. The boys slept, their room filled with books and toys I'd bought. A stark contrast to Vanessa's neglect. I checked my security cameras, the memory of her attack vivid. Mark held me, whispering, "You're their home." I nodded. The courtroom clashed behind me, but the final ruling and Vanessa's next move ahead. Artifact. XI artifact ID 2 BABC03BA3E5 4AE7 BC8A 6CB8791F9 day artifact version ID 01306CF9 E2EF4F5A9DBA 6B36ABCCBBFC. Title: The Cost of Favor, Part 10. A new legacy, content type, text plain. Spring broke over Appleton, melting snow revealing green beneath, mirroring the hope in my home. The custody hearings ruling came a week after the courtroom clash. Permanent custody of Ethan and Caleb was mine. The judge cited Vanessa's egregious neglect, criminal behavior, and unfitness. Her assault and fraud sealing her fate. She was sentenced to 3 years for assault, fraud, and child endangerment. Her appeals slim. Mom faced probation, ordered to repay 600,000. Her testimony against Vanessa, a desperate bid to avoid jail. The trust fund, now $1.4 million, was awarded to me under Grandma's codicil. My financial responsibility proven. At the firm, I thrived as VP. My corner office, a testament to my defiance. Mom's dismissal. You're no star. Claire had fueled my rise, outpacing Vanessa's failures. Her college flop. Her scams. Her attack were shadows I'd overcome. My latest deal, a $40 million portfolio, earned industry buzz. And Linda toasted me at a company dinner. But Ethan and Caleb were my true victory. Ethan's robot won a regional science fair. Caleb's art featured in a school exhibit. Their growth, from wary kids to confident boys, was my legacy. I moved us to a larger house, its backyard perfect for Ethan's experiments and Caleb's drawings. Mark relocated to Appleton, his job transfer aligning with our plans. We married in a small ceremony, the boys as ring bearers, their smiles brighter than the sun. "You're our mom now," Ethan said, and Caleb nodded. His dinosaur plush retired to a shelf, a symbol of their healing. Their counseling continued, but nightmares faded, replaced by dreams of science camps and art classes. I enrolled them in a summer program. Their excitement infectious. Sarah closed the trust fund case. The $1.4 million secured for the boys' future college. Dreams. Vanessa never nurtured. Mom's calls stopped, her silence a relief. I found Grandma's diary entry. Claire will rise. Despite them, she'd seen my strength, and I honored her by funding a scholarship in her name, helping kids like me, overlooked but driven. Vanessa's entrepreneur was arrested, his fraud tied to her offshore account, ending her schemes. Rachel sent a letter, begging forgiveness, but I didn't reply. Her betrayal, like Mom's, was a lesson in trust. I took Ethan and Caleb to Grandma's old cabin, now mine. Its Lakeview a place of peace. We fished, their laughter echoing, and I told them about Grandma's faith in me. She'd love you, I said, and Ethan nodded, his robot designs sketched in a notebook. Caleb drew the lake, his colors vivid. Their growth was my defiance against Vanessa's chaos, Mom's favoritism, high school wounds, Vanessa's lies. Mom's silence had shaped me, but I'd rewritten the story, building a family from their wreckage. Mark and I planned a trip to London, the boys' first abroad, their passports a symbol of new horizons. At home, I hung their art and awards, our walls a gallery of love. A CPS follow-up confirmed the boys' stability, their counselor noting, "They're thriving with you." I smiled, remembering their first day wary, clutching tattered bags. Now, they ran through our yard, Ethan chasing Caleb with a water gun, their joy a melody. Vanessa's letters from prison went unopened, her pleas irrelevant. Mom's probation kept her away, her betrayal a closed chapter. I found a photo of Grandma, her stern smile my guide, and placed it beside the boys' drawings. "We did it," I whispered, tears falling. The trust fund, the custody, the family they were mine, earned through battles Vanessa and Mom couldn't fathom. Ethan called. "Aunt Claire, come play." I ran outside, Mark joining, our laughter a new legacy, built on love, not favor, and stronger than any storm Vanessa could unleash. The Appleton winter was unrelenting, snowdrifts piling against my home as the legal battles intensified. Ethan and Caleb's laughter, echoing from their makeshift fort in the living room, was my sanctuary. But Vanessa's attack, her thug's bruises still fading on my arm, had shattered any illusion of safety. Temporary custody was mine, bolstered by CPS reports and police records. But Sarah warned that Vanessa's desperation was peaking. "She's hired a new lawyer," Sarah said, her voice tense. "He's pushing for a custody hearing, claiming you manipulated CPS." The lie was audacious, but Vanessa's history of deceit from high school rumors to her recent whistleblower email made it plausible to those who didn't know her. At the firm, I'd clinched the VP role, my corner office a symbol of triumph over Mom's dismissal. Finance is for men. Claire, my latest deal, a $35 million portfolio, had silenced doubters, but Vanessa's smears lingered. A colleague mentioned an anonymous tip to the board, alleging I'd conflicted interests. HR traced it to Vanessa's new number, and I shared her blackmail recordings, quashing the rumor. Linda's support held, but her caution, "Keep your family out of this." Claire was a reminder of the stakes. My career, built on precision, was my defiance against Mom's favoritism, which had excused Vanessa's failures, from flunking college to abandoning her sons. Sarah's update on the trust fund was a bombshell. The $600,000 diverted to Vanessa's offshore account was tied to a shell company, Vantage Ventures, registered in Miami. Mom's forged signatures were on every transfer, but a new name surfaced: Victor Langston, Vanessa's entrepreneur. Ellison's audit revealed Langston was under FBI scrutiny for money laundering, and Vanessa's account was a conduit. "She's not just stealing," Sarah said. "She's entangled in a criminal network." The revelation chilled me. Was her Miami trip a cover for funneling Grandma's trust fund into Langston's schemes? I authorized Sarah to coordinate with the FBI, my heart heavy. Mom's complicity was now a federal matter. I focused on Ethan and Caleb, enrolling them in a winter science camp. Ethan's robot project won a school award, his pride a beacon, while Caleb's dinosaur sketches filled a notebook I'd bought. Their counselor noted progress. But Ethan's question, "Will Mom take us away?" revealed their fear. I hugged them, promising, "You're home with me." Their trust was a contrast to Mom's betrayal. Her silence when Vanessa sabotaged my college applications, a wound that still ached. I took them sledding, their giggles a fleeting escape. But a call from Rachel shattered the calm. "I'm sorry, Claire," she sobbed. "Vanessa's got my emails. She's threatening to leak them." Rachel's betrayal deepened. She'd taken $10,000 from Vanessa to access my work laptop. Not just $5,000, as she'd claimed. I stopped short of hacking. She insisted, but she'd shared my meeting schedules, letting Vanessa time her whistleblower email. "Why?" I demanded, tears burning. Rachel's excuse medical debt was weak against our history. She'd seen Vanessa's high school cruelty, yet chose money over me. "Don't contact me again," I said. Hanging up, her betrayal echoed Mom's, a reminder that trust was a luxury I couldn't afford. Mark's arrival in Appleton was a lifeline. He cooked chili with the boys, their chatter about robots and dinosaurs filling the kitchen. "You're their anchor," he said, his arms around me. His faith, like Grandma's, steadied me. Her diary, now a nightly read, spoke of my resilience. Claire will outshine their chaos. But a late-night email from Ellison revealed a twist. Vanessa's father, Greg, not my dad, had co-signed Vantage Ventures. Greg, a deadbeat who'd vanished after Vanessa's birth, was back. Lured by Langston's promises, was he contesting custody or after the trust fund? I met Greg at a seedy bar, his smirk unchanged from childhood photos. "Vanessa says there's millions," he leered. "I want in." I showed his criminal record. DUIs, theft, and offered a deal. Walk away, or face FBI scrutiny. He signed a custody waiver, muttering, "You're as ruthless as your mom." The irony stung Mom's favoritism had fueled Vanessa's greed. Not mine. Sarah filed the waiver, strengthening my case. But Greg's involvement hinted at a larger scheme. Was Vanessa planning to flee with Langston, using the boys as leverage? The custody hearing loomed, Vanessa's lawyer spinning lies about her recovery. I prepared, gathering school reports, counselor notes, and police records. Ethan and Caleb's voices, recorded in therapy, detailed Vanessa's neglect, their fear of her return. I upgraded my security, the memory of Vanessa's thug vivid. Mark held me, whispering, "You're enough." The boys' drawings, us as a family, lined my office, a reminder of my fight. Vanessa's storm was gathering, but I was ready with evidence, a lawyer, and a heart set on protecting Ethan and Caleb. The Appleton courthouse loomed like a fortress, its gray stone a stark contrast to the spring buds outside. The custody hearing was Vanessa's final gambit, her chance to reclaim Ethan and Caleb, or the trust fund she saw as her birthright. Temporary custody had given me confidence, but her attack, Rachel's betrayal, and Greg's reappearance fueled my dread. Sarah was a bulldog, her files thick with evidence. Vanessa's recordings, CPS reports, police records, and the trust fund audit exposing $600,000 stolen via Vantage Ventures. Mom's deposition, admitting fraud, was our ace. But Vanessa's new lawyer, a slick Miami import, was a wild card. At the firm, I was a titan, closing a $50 million deal that earned a feature in Forbes. Linda's toast to Claire, our VP star, was a triumph over Mom's scorn. "You're no visionary." Claire. Vanessa smears her whistleblower email. Her tip to the board had fizzled, but the stress lingered. My career, built on grit, was my shield against Mom's favoritism, which had propped up Vanessa's failures, her college flop, her scams, her neglect of her sons. Now, she fought to undo my victory, her lawyer claiming parental rights. The courtroom was electric. Vanessa in a demure dress, her eyes blazing. Her lawyer spun a tale of temporary hardship, presenting a forged rehab certificate. Sarah shredded it, submitting Vanessa's arrest record assault, fraud, child endangerment, and the boys' therapy notes. Detailing her neglect, Ethan's recorded voice trembled. "Mom left us with nothing. Aunt Claire's our home." Caleb's drawing of Vanessa as a shadow was admitted, his fear tangible. The judge's gaze hardened, and Vanessa's facade cracked, her fingers twitching. I took the stand, my voice clear, recounting Vanessa's abandonment, her threats, her attack. "Ethan and Caleb need safety," I said, eyes locked on the judge. "I've given them love, school, stability. Vanessa's a danger." Sarah played the blackmail recordings, Vanessa's voice snarling about my fake career and her right to the trust fund. The courtroom murmured, and her lawyer stammered. Mom, testifying, wept, claiming Vanessa was misled by Langston. Sarah's cross-examination was ruthless, exposing Mom's forged signatures and 600,000 theft. The judge ordered Mom to repay or face jail, her sobs irrelevant. Vanessa's eruption was seismic. As Sarah presented the FBI's Vantage Ventures report, linking Vanessa to Langston's laundering, she sprang up, screaming, "Claire stole everything. The fund, my kids." Bailiffs tackled her, her lawyer pleading insanity. She lunged at me, nails grazing my cheek before restraint. The judge, stone-faced, adjourned for deliberation. I left, Ethan and Caleb waiting with their counselor, their robot and dinosaur plush in hand. "Are we staying?" Caleb asked, eyes wide. I knelt, hugging them. "I'm fighting for you." Mark met us at home, grilling burgers, the boys' chatter a balm. "You were a lion," he said, kissing me. His presence, after months apart, was a dream of family, free of Vanessa's shadow. But Sarah's call tempered the hope. "The judge favors you, but Vanessa's claiming Greg's support. He's backtracking on the waiver." Greg's greed, tied to Langston's promises, was a new threat. I dug into his records, finding a recent wire from Vanessa's offshore account. Sarah alerted the FBI, who raided Greg's motel, seizing documents linking him to Vantage Ventures. The trust fund case closed, Mom's repayment enforced, and $4 million secured for me. I found Grandma's letter in her diary. "Claire, you're my heart. Save the fund for those who deserve it." Her faith fueled me, and I funded a science scholarship in her name, honoring Ethan's passion. Vanessa's lawyer sent a desperate plea, offering a deal, drop charges for visitation. I refused. Her attack too raw. Ethan's robot won a state prize. Caleb's art displayed at a museum. Their growth was my victory, a defiance of Vanessa's chaos. A late-night call from the FBI confirmed Langston's arrest. Vanessa's account frozen. Her Miami dream was dust, but her courtroom outburst lingered, a warning of her rage. I checked the boys' room, their snores soft, their drawings us as a family. My talisman. Mark held me, whispering, "You've won." The ruling was days away, But Vanessa's final blow loomed. I was ready. With evidence, a lawyer, and a heart set on Ethan and Caleb's future. Spring painted Appleton in greens and golds. A rebirth mirroring the judge's ruling. Permanent custody of Ethan and Caleb was mine. The decision, delivered a week after Vanessa's courtroom meltdown, cited her criminal neglect, violent instability, and financial fraud, her assault and Vantage Ventures ties sealing her fate. She was sentenced to 5 years, her appeals dim. While Mom faced 2 years probation, her $600,000 repayment enforced. The trust fund, $1, $4 million, was mine under Grandma's codicil. My responsibility proven. I stood in my yard, Ethan and Caleb chasing fireflies, their laughter a victory over Vanessa's chaos. At the firm, I was a legend. My $60 million deal, earning a Wall Street Journal nod. Linda's pride, you're our cornerstone. Claire was a triumph over Mom's disdain. You're no star. Vanessa smears her emails. Her tips were forgotten. My VP role secure. My career, built on grit, was my defiance against Mom's favoritism, which had fueled Vanessa's failures, her college flop, her scams, her abandonment of her sons. Now, Ethan and Caleb were my legacy, their growth, my true success. We moved to a sprawling Victorian, its attic perfect for Ethan's experiments, its garden for Caleb's sketches. Mark proposed, his ring simple but radiant. And we planned a summer wedding, the boys as best men. You're our mom, Ethan said. Caleb nodding, his dinosaur plush now a bookshelf relic. A sign of healing. Their counseling tapered. Nightmares replaced by dreams of science fairs and art shows. I enrolled them in a robotics camp. Ethan's eyes bright. And an art academy. Caleb's sketches museum-bound. The trust fund. Secured. Funded their future's college. Passions Vanessa ignored. I found Grandma's locket in her cabin, engraved with for Claire. My strength, her faith, echoed in her diary. Claire will rise guided me. I launched a STEM scholarship in her name, honoring Ethan, and an art grant for Caleb. Vanessa's Miami entrepreneur, Langston, was indicted, his network crumbling, Vanessa's account seized. Greg, her father, fled after the FBI raid, his custody claim dust. Rachel's emails, begging forgiveness, went deleted her betrayal. Like Mom's, a closed wound. I took the boys to Grandma's cabin, its lake shimmering. We kiked, their laughter echoing, and I shared Grandma's story, her belief in me, her distrust of Mom's bias. She'd love you, I said, and Ethan nodded, sketching a rocket. Caleb drew the lake, his colors bold. Their growth was my answer to Vanessa's cruelty. Mom's neglect, high school scars, Vanessa's lies. Mom's silence had forged me. But I'd built a family from their ashes, stronger than their favor. Mark and I planned a European trip, the boys' passports ready, their first adventure abroad. At home, their art and awards lined our walls. A gallery of love. CPS's final visit confirmed their thriving. The counselor noting, "You're their home." I smiled, recalling their arrival wary, clutching tattered bags. Now, they raced through our garden, Ethan teaching Caleb circuits, their joy a symphony. Vanessa's prison letters, unopened, were irrelevant. Mom's probation kept her distant, her betrayal a memory. I found Grandma's photo, her smile stern yet warm, and hung it beside the boys' drawings. We did it, I whispered, tears falling. The trust fund, the custody, the family they were mine, earned through battles Vanessa and Mom couldn't fathom. Ethan called. "Mom, look!" Showing a glowing circuit, Caleb ran up. His latest sketch, a family US4. With Mark, I joined them. Mark's arm around me. Our laughter. A new dawn. Vanessa's storm was gone. Her favor, a faded myth. My home. My boys. My love. They were my legacy. Built on strength, not shadows, and brighter than any chaos she could conjure.